ready. This is going to be exciting.
And we got career starts up to go. Green flag is out and we're underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. He's gonna win it here in spectacular fashion.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the iconic twists and turns of WeatherTech Laguna Seca Raceway, where the roar of the engines meets the thrill of pure competition. This is round 7 of the Goat Locker MK Fire Design Sports Car Series, and folks, this season is short of electrifying. 6 races in, and we've had 6 different winners take the checkered flag, proving that in this series, parity reigns supreme, and no team can rest on their laurels. With a new victor emerge, if a new victor emerges today, or will we have a new victor, or will we finally get one of the champions to double up? We're about to strap in and find out, because the green flag is just moments away. Welcome to the Goat Locker MK Fire Design Sports Car Series, presented by Zach Graphics, and of course brought to you here on VSPEED, your #1 source of online race coverage. And again, our primary sponsor is MK Fire Designs, a design company that specializes in custom wooden flags, shirts, hoodies, and hats. Also being brought to you by Save 22, helping first responder and veteran suicide. Also brought to you by Zach Graphics. Zach Graphics, we can put your design on almost anything. Well, here we are. What an exciting time. We're at Laguna Seca. As you heard in the intro, this is going to be pretty exciting. This is a kind of a crowd favorite here. So far, we have about, looks like about 24, 25 cars trying to get their qualifying in, but it's looking really sunny out here. We're looking at about a cool, crisp fall, 74 degrees, cool track temperatures, so these lap times are going to be super fast. Really looking forward to this. Then we're talking about Laguna Seca. Let's talk about where we're going to be at for the rest of the season as we look at this season's schedule. Next week, we're going to be at Mid-Ohio. That's kind of an exciting place, too. It's a small track like this one. It's going to be a little technical for these guys. We'll see how that plays out. And then Barcelona, one of the bigger, highly technical tracks out there. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to conclude with our series finale on 1220 at Monza, which is always very entertaining, especially that turn 1. Anyway, I'm Ken Huber. I've got Tim Jones under production, and we got Dougie Beer on the cameras tonight, and really looking forward to this race. And like I said, why don't we take a look at Laguna Seca, nestled in the rolling hills of Monterey, California. WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca stands as a crown jewel of the American motorsports, blending natural beauty with heart-pounding action. Originally built in 1957 as a replacement to the Pebble Beach road races, this 2.2-mile circuit has evolved into a global icon, hosting everything from INZA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship events to historic Can-Am races and the prestigious Rolex Monterey Motorsports Reunion. It's a challenging layout carved into the landscape, demands precision from drivers, navigating elevation changes up to 300 feet, and making it a true test of skill where strategy and bravery collide under the golden California sun. What truly sets Laguna Seca apart is its legendary corkscrew turn, a blind, plummeting left and right-hand chicane that drops 59 feet in just over 450 feet, often deciding races with dramatic overtakes and unforgettable moments. The track's amphitheater-like setting allows fans to witness and spectate from vantage points overlooking the entire course, amplified by thunderous echoes of high-revving engines. Beyond racing, it serves as a hub for automotive innovation and enthusiasts gatherings, embodying the spirit spirit of speed while preserving its storied heritage amidst the scenic Monterey Peninsula. Whew, that was a lot for me to say. So, like I said, I'm back here by myself in the booth, so that, you know, forgive me for my mistakes this week, but we're going to get back. We're going to get warm. We had a mid-season break. We had a lot of fun last week with a fundraiser event for Goat Locker Racing, and now we're back for the rest of the season. I think we're going to go week by week. No more breaks until Christmas, I think, is the way this is going to go. So, and I stand corrected. I guess we do have one more mid-season break. That's Thanksgiving weekend. So, of course, how can I forget about Thanksgiving? Anyway, let's look at our race analysis here. So we are going to run 1 hour here at Laguna Seca with a pit road speed of 35 miles an hour. And the pit road is kind of an interesting one to get on. You have to get, it's on the last turn, getting into the braking zone. It can be quite challenging to get on the pit road and getting off as well. They have an unlimited set of tires, one fast repair, and 50% fuel that they'll start off with, and an iRacing fix setup. And since we were talking about that limited fuel set, so what these guys can do, this track is not a very heavy fuel usage track. As a matter of fact, they can go a little over halfway. So after a lap or two of running out under green, they'll be able to fill these tanks up to 100%. So some guys might play that into their strategy and not fight the traffic and go into pit lane early, while other guys stay out and try to maximize positions and just race their way to the front. As we're getting soon to wrapping up qualifying here. Looking over the track, this is going down through the corkscrew, one of the most interesting corners on the track, one of the most difficult. A lot of people, you know, are extremely threatened by the corkscrew. One of the turns that I hate the most is turn 6. So turn 6 is a quick dog leg, and we'll talk about that later on, but it's got a sausage curb in there, and you need to hit turn 6 really quick to keep your speed up going up the hill as you head up towards the corkscrew. As we look now at the cars coming into the corkscrew, you can see that downhill section there. But getting the speed off turn 6, which I'll talk a lot about tonight, is also crucially important. But if you take too much curb there, you can end up going into the sand there, and it gets quite ugly. Well, we got about a minute 20 seconds left in qualifying. Let's bring up our points. So as I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, we have 6 different winners in 6 races, which has made this series quite competitive this season. And here's our point standings with Jeremy Gardner sitting at top, and Jeremy Gardner's only got 1 race win. Matter of fact, there isn't a multiple race winner in the series yet. And Nathan Graham has fallen closely behind it with 72-point deficit. Now, I have to remind everybody that's looking at this point roster, while it looks like some of those point totals are quite huge, the points haul in is about 350 for a race win. So, you know, if you finish 10th versus first, that's quite a big point difference. So anything can happen here. And one of the big questions is whether we're going to see our 7th different winner tonight. So just looking at the corkscrew there, as these guys are wrapping up qualifying, it looks like we only have maybe 1 car left out on track trying to get their qualifying time in, as we're about 10 seconds away from locking in our grid and see who captured the pole for tonight. So it looks like qualifying is wrapped up, and it looks like we have Nathan Graham as our a winner for tonight. Our Jam Printing and Promotion Pole Award will go to Nathan Graham in that Mustang. He was super quick last week, and might be looking to get his 2nd win of the season. Mason Cordnell will get that 2nd place starting position on his outside. Jeremy Gardner got his 1st win here recently. Is going to be starting in 3rd with Derek Turms, another super fast driver out there. We haven't seen him in a few weeks, who's also got a race win on the season. Eddie Smith will start in 5th, with Logan Threlkeld out there starting in 6th place. Jake Ham will start in 7th, with Samuel Agee on his outside starting in 8th. Wesley Burke will start in the 9th position, with Samuel Yosef on his outside. Bobby Germain will start in the 11th position, with Tyler Justice on his outside. Zachary Menace will start in the 13th position, with Brian Provost starting in 14th. Tyler Brown will start in the 15th position, with Jamie Lipke starting in 16th. Cody Jacob will start in 17th, with Kevin Price on his outside in the 18th position. Corey Patton will start in 19th with Matt Last starting in the 20th position on his outside. Jason Black starts in the 21st position with Alexander Sexauer starting in 22nd. Brock Price will start in 23rd with Tyler Rice starting on his outside. Brian Frauheiger will start in the 25th position with, I'm sorry, I lost my place here. So Brian Frauheiger, will start in the 25th position with Tyler Rice starting in 26th. And Joshua Unger wraps out your 27 car field for tonight. So here we are, we're back at Laguna. We haven't seen this since last season. So luckily for me, I was the winner in last season in the spring series and really enjoyed that. This track is can be quite difficult. The curbs are demanding. The track temperature is kind of cool, so there should be some decent grip, but the track does get covered in sand. And sometimes these guys will have a hard time finding grip out there, especially as a run progresses. As we see the pace trucks start to get these guys. We got a short parade lap, so we're almost to the front stretch as it is. We only got the final couple of corners here as we go through turn 10, and then the final turn is turn 11. And you can see the entrance right off to the right-hand side or the left-hand side there of pit road that they have to get it woed up to. And then there's kind of almost like a chicane getting into pit road, which is also kind of tricky. As we got Nathan Graham about to lead him to the green flag, and we are green, and Nathan gets the jump. Two Mustangs out up front. Mason Cordonell trying to get the advantage on the outside. Will try to tuck in behind Nathan. They're on the outside as they go into Andretti corner, and they all get through. Jeremy Gardner getting an advantage over there. Nathan trying to get by Mason Cordonell right there. Jeremy Gardner almost had the position. Now Mason has the advantage, the inside, going into this other set of complex of turns here, and will keep that position. So Gardner tried to make a run early to get that second place away, and now he's under threat by Derek Tyriams just behind him in that Aston Martin, in that green-colored Aston Martin in fourth. And you can see Jeremy Gardner under pressure. Here's where we're coming up to turn 6. One of the scariest corners, for me anyway, is not hitting that sausage curb. You can get out in the dirt really easy there. It looks like everybody gets through there nice and clean. You can see just ahead there, Mason Cordonell trying to get those tires warmed up. He's running in the second position. You can see him swerving that car back and forth, trying to get those tires warmed up early, even during the race, which is pretty impressive that he has the speed to think ahead and try to get those tires warmed up quickly. But the battle behind there, Derek Tyriams putting all kinds of pressure on Jeremy Gardner there. You can see it. Oh, and just behind them, we got a pass. So it looks like we've got Eddie Smith back there in that Porsche under threat. Under threat, and that would be, Jake Ham. I should know that. Jake Ham in the McLaren gets by Eddie Smith. So, an impressive pass. Jake Ham getting that done early. Eddie Smith had a pretty good qualifying run. Eddie Smith has been really consistent this season as well. So I talk about Jeremy Gardner being consistent, but Eddie Smith is another one of those drivers. He's currently sitting third in points. He was our Summer Series champion, but he's being really consistent. But he's under pressure now with Logan Threlkeld in the Buc-ee's Porsche back there. And you can see that Porsche making a look on the inside of 5. And Threlkeld, they go side by side, but they're going to have to get single file before going to 6, and they does. Threlkeld backs out of it. Try to make another attempt later on. Threlkeld now has got Wesley Burke just behind him in the Acura, so Threlkeld's got to be careful making this pass so he doesn't lose any more positions. But Threlkeld is gathering it back up, and he might make another attempt on Eddie Smith here. We'll have to wait and see. As we're looking at Threlkeld right now, going through the final set of corners here, headed into 11, catching back up to Eddie Smith. The two Porsches battling it out. And Eddie Smith back into Porsche after riding in the Acura for the last couple of races. He must be more comfortable in the Porsche right now for Laguna Seca. And he didn't look that strong during practice, but he definitely put in a good qualifying effort. He's currently running in the 6th position. So he's only lost 1 position so far tonight, but Eddie's about to lose another if Threlkeld has anything to say about it. Threlkeld looked pretty fast in practice, although his time started slipping a little bit later during practice. We'll have to wait and see. We're going to look at Derek Terhams right now, running in third. We were watching this battle at the start of the race between him and Jeremy Gardner. Terhams trying to get back up there and get that pass made. Mason Cornell must have had an incident because he's currently running back there in fourth, and he was in second. So Mason has dropped back a couple positions. Not sure what happened there, but I'm sure he'll be able to run these guys back down. A really quick guy. We're still on Derek Terhams, though, in that beautiful Aston Martin. Seeing if he can do anything with that Corvette just in front of him. Round in the final turn and down onto the front stretch here. That little dog leg on the front stretch here actually counts as turn 1 as they head down into Andretti Corner. This is Andretti Corner, a very hefty braking zone here, a double apex here, so you want to get right up on those sausage curbs, and it's a little over 180 degrees. So another interesting thing about this track is there's no really 45-degree turns or anything like that here, or 90-degree turns, I should say. Everything's either over 90 degrees or under it, so there's nothing quite in that middle ground. So the corners like to throw you a curveball every time you go through it. So we're looking at Tyler Justice right now. Tyler Justice back there in that McLaren, and he's putting some pressure on Samuel Joseph right now, who's also in a Porsche. And we'll see what Tyler's doing here. We haven't really followed him. He's currently in 10th, started in 12th, so he's made up a couple positions here. And meanwhile, Samuel Joseph, just ahead of him, has actually lost a position, or he's actually gained a position, excuse me, up from his 10th starting spot. So both these guys up at least one position as we look at Samuel Joseph in that Porsche. So Tyler Justice has been having a pretty good season so far. Pretty clean and consistent driver. Seems like he's always been in the McLaren. He seems to stick with what he knows, so that's good to see. I like these guys sticking to the same car. Another guy that sticks to the same car, though, is Nathan Graham, our current leader, who's pulled out to a 4-second lead. He's been in the Mustang every week, and I'm sure he would like to take over that points lead. And he's sitting back there trying to remember. I'm going to just take a quick peek at my notes here. See, yeah, Nathan Graham running in second place in points, so he's just a little bit behind our points leader of Jeremy Gardner, who's sitting in third. So now that we're in race 7, you know, the points are really starting to matter. They get 2 drop weeks. Jeremy Gardner's got, I would say, at this point, has a little bit of advantage because he has had a top 3 in every race so far this season, so his drop weeks are going to look pretty good for him. I don't believe Nathan Graham, I think he's missed a race or 2, so Nathan is, you know, can't afford to lose too many drop weeks, so he's pretty much going to have to be mistake-free to stay in this thing, which, if I know anything about Nathan, he's a pretty consistent driver himself, as we're looking at Jeremy Gardner right now. And then back to Nathan Graham, and then back to Jeremy Gardner. That's what I like. But Jeremy Gardner, you know, he's still under threat behind. He's got that driver behind him of Derek Terhams, another one of those race winners. Our top 3 are all race winners, or our top 4 for that matter, are all race winners this season. So we got something here going on with Burt. So we're looking at the Audi, or the Acura. We're going to take a look and see what happened to Wesley here. Wesley Burke going into the corner here. Oh, and it just cut the nose off there of that car just behind him, and just got clipped there. So not quite enough space for both those guys. It's gonna, looks like no damage. So they'll have to try to get those positions back, as we're currently following him right now, and he's currently running in the 12th position with Zachary Minnis just ahead of him in that Corvette. So another driver kind of having a quiet night so far, but yeah, and we're just going to go to it, is Brian Provo up there in that Mustang, just behind these guys that are racing in front of us, Samuel Egge and Tyler Justice. It was Brian Provo. Oh my God. Brian Provo just got the worst of that Mustang there, and it looks like he had Samuel Joseph get into him, and he's going to go into the wall. It looks like he's going to have to get that thing towed. Oh, very unfortunate here as we look back and see what happened. He's got Samuel Joseph just ahead of him, goes off track, and then just slides up, and just nowhere for Provo to go. Just And that's that turn 6, and that's exactly what I was talking about. It's my scariest corner as we look at this again. That 36 just comes up and hits him. Just nowhere for Brian Provo to go. Anyway, I think for Samuel Agee, you know, and Samuel Agee is still out on the track, so he fared better than Brian Provo. Actually, I don't think that was Samuel Agee. Now that I have to go back and look at that. Yeah, I'm sorry, Samuel Yosef. Yeah, Samuel Yosef. Samuel Yosef is headed into pit lane to get that damage repaired. So excuse me, folks. So we're going to take a look back at Derek Terham, still on the back bumper of Jeremy Gardner. A couple car lengths here as they go uphill towards the corkscrew. The death-defying drop into an infinity here, and they both get through this cleanly. Both taking it kind of easy through there. I notice, you know, a lot of times you want the right side tires kind of almost in the dirt when you come down through the corkscrew. And the funny thing is, when you come up over the hill, you kind of know if you're going to hit that corner right or not. So but it's that blind corner when you get at the top of the hill. It's like, geez, I hope when I drop this in, I'm exactly where I think I want to be so I can hit that throttle. Got some nice camera views from Dougie Beard going down the front stretch into Andretti corner here. The double apex. Both seem to be driving really smooth and consistent. I don't think Terhams is really wanting to pressure Jeremy Gardner too much at this point. Terhams is just, I think, just hanging back and looking for weaknesses. Jeremy Gardner just running a little bit off track there, but that Corvette likes to be driven a little bit harder. But both of them look really clean and consistent at the moment. But they're going to need to put something together because right now Nathan Graham has opened up that lead to about 6 seconds. As Nathan Graham is actually just starting to pass lap cars right now. He just passed Samuel Yosef, who was involved in that incident, and he's got Alexander Sexhauer is going to be his next victim, about 21 seconds ahead. But Nathan Graham is picking it up and putting him down right now. I'm going to take a look at Samuel Agee here. And just behind him, Logan Threlkeld just had an off track. So Logan Threlkeld, who started in 6, is actually starting to go backwards. He's currently running in the 8th position. So Logan Threlkeld having a tough time out there as we're looking at Samuel Agee just ahead of him. Samuel Agee in that Mercedes. I haven't seen the Mercedes out here too much this season. I've seen it once or twice. But I don't believe I've seen Samuel Agee in the Mercedes yet this season. So it looks like that man is looking for a sponsor. I don't see anything on that gray car. It's all primer. Oh, actually, I see some kind of silver gulls on the back, some chrome stickers. Oh, I guess there is something there. It's almost as cool as the dinosaur scheme that are. Yeah, there we go. That's who I was looking for. Eddie Smith in that Porsche and the T-Rex scheme. So, and that's a real scheme out in real life too. It's a really cool looking scheme. Eddie Smith adopted it this season or this race, and I wonder if that's why he chose the course. Because last time I talked to him, he said he was going to kind of stick it out with the Acura, but I think Trading Paints must have had this out there, or somebody painted it for him, and he says, "I want to run this car tonight." So this is a replica car for what they ran in the IMSA race back in October, I think. Anyway, you can see it looks like Eddie Smith is now that we're on him, is starting to catch up to some cars here. He's got Jake Ham just ahead of him. Jake Ham went around him earlier. Now Jake Ham is trying to get by Mason Cardinal. Couldn't quite get it done. They're going down the front stretches. We got a good 3-car battle shaping up here. And it's probably the best battle on the track right now. Is usually what happens almost every race is something like this starts shaking up and we get 3 guys that just get locked in for the duration, and that's the way these guys are starting to look. And I wouldn't count Tyler Justice. Tyler Justice started in 12th, and he's just behind this group. Tyler Justice started in 12th. He's currently running in 7th, and he does look like he's starting to run these guys down. So this could be a 4-car battle before you know it, as we look at Tyler Justice there, back there in that McLaren. I like this overhead view shot here as he heads up to turn 6. This is my trickiest corner, and you got to hit this one just perfect without hitting that sausage curve, and he does, and you can get a lot of speed going up the hill. As we watch the battle back up front, we got Jake Ham. Jake Ham putting all kinds of pressure there of Mason Cardinal in that Mustang. So Jake Ham showing some speed. We know Jake Ham does have speed, especially at Laguna Seca. So this could be a good night for Jake if he can keep it. There he goes. Jacob diving it to the inside. What an aggressive move. I'm not sure what happened there, but Mason Cardinal really checked up there. I'm not, yeah, that was a tough move. Those cars actually got together a little bit there. And Mason Cardinal was really slow on the track for some reason. We're going to go back and take a look here. We're looking on board with Jake Ham as we're going through turn 10, and it looks like, oh, that's interesting. He just breaks in the middle of the track. So I don't know. That's Mason Cardinal just braked in the middle of the track. I wonder if there's maybe a little bit of animosity going on right now. Mason wasn't happy with how he's being raced or something. It's kind of interesting. Just, you don't see guys just stop in the middle of the track like that. So, but now Mason finds himself under threat by Eddie Smith back there. So Eddie Smith putting pressure on Mason. Eddie Smith goes off track as we bring the cameras to him, showing where they got those dinosaur bones from the desert. If Eddie keeps doing that, he's going to find himself in trouble with Tyler Justice closing in just behind him. Tyler Justice has been bad fast all night and just picking off positions or position after position. So Eddie's going to need to tone it down, keep it on track if he wants to hang on there. And like I said earlier, Eddie has been really consistent this season. And there we go. Jake Ham now back in front of these guys. Jake Ham swings out wide, slows down. That allows Mason Cardinal to get to his inside. Cardinal down, going into turn 2, Andretti corner. These guys go side by side, door handle to door handle. And Cardinal's got the turn now. We'll see what Jake Ham does here. So Jake Ham falls back in line. I don't know what happened. I wonder if it was mechanical with Cardinal earlier, why he braked in the middle of the track like this. Just such an unusual move. So I don't know if that was intentional. Maybe I thought something was going on, but he might have had something with his brake pedal or something, because he was able to get back around Jake Ham and as they head up towards turn 6 here, and see if he can outstretch Jake Ham here. As they go up the hill, everybody gets through that corner cleanly, headed up to the corkscrews. We're looking at the front of Mason Cardinal's Mustang here. Got Jake Ham right behind him. Oh, gets a little sideways there. That might have been the point of the view of the camera there, but I thought that car was about to lose it. And yeah, you can see Jake Ham now starting to put that pressure back on. This is where it happened before. This is where Cardinal hit the brakes. And it looks like that isn't going to be the case now as they go into turn 11 here, the final corner before they head to the front stretch. So these two guys really going at it. Matter of fact, there's a whole chain of cars back here that these guys are racing right now. And they also got some lap cars that they're about to contend with. So looks like Tyler White in the Porsche just ahead of him. The first lap car that these guys are really going to have to deal with. Tyler White currently running in the 21st position, so this could shake up. It looks like Tyler White's going to try to get out of the way. Oh, Jake Ham gets into the back of Cardinal just slightly, doesn't upset that Mustang that much. But that's one of the tricky spots about trying to get around this lap traffic. And it looks like Eddie Smith's going to follow him through, and you can see Jake Ham just wheeling that McLaren out there, trying everything he can to get by Cardinal right now. And that allows Eddie Smith to join this battle. Eddie Smith's knocking on the back saying, hey, you know what? I'd like to play if you guys don't mind. And then you see all three of those guys just about getting the sand there. They're actually pushing those cars through turn 6 a lot harder now than what we've seen at the beginning of this thing as they head down into the corkscrew. And this is a whole chain of guys here. We got Samuel Agee back in this battle now too. So Samuel Agee, who got around Logan Threlkeld is kind of not in this battle anymore. So we got a really good 5-car battle. As we're looking at it right now, you can see 3 cars back there as we're riding along Jake Ham's car. There you go. There's all 5 cars there, this battle. So, and these guys could pit at any time, if they feel like they want to come into pit road and get out of this situation that they're in, they can. But the disadvantage to come into pit road this early is that you'll have that extra fuel load that you have to carry around for a while until you can burn it off. So there is a disadvantage to topping that tank off early into the race, as we are about 20 minutes into this thing. And it looked like we had, I want to say, so we have Eddie Smith pushing that Porsche really hard, just had an off track. So these guys are pushing really hard right now, trying to get an advantage on each other. As we're looking at Mason leading this pack of 4 other cars in that Mustang. We've seen him and Ham get together a little bit. Ham now starting to fall back a little bit, but Ham's been strong coming down through the corkscrew. I'll get my words right. That was a nice aerial overhead view here coming down the hill. We watch these guys come down. I hate to take a break, but man, these guys are putting on a heck of a show right now. As we're looking at Tyler Justice, Eddie Smith, Jake Ham, Samuel Egge. Samuel Egge back there in that Mercedes. It's nice to see a Mercedes starting to run up front again. So I haven't seen these cars run up front in a while. There have always been strong cars. A lot of people compare them to the Mustang. That front engine, rear wheel drive Mercedes, lots of power and incredible. Oh, Mason Cordnell. Looks like he got sideways in Andretti corner there. We'll have to go back and take a look, see what happened there. Yeah, he gets loose into turn 2 here. Taking a replay look at this. Down hard on the brakes, no contact, just a little wide out in the sand. And that everybody has to split him there, as we see Tyler Justice go on the outside there of that incident. So Cardinal's been moved back to the 7th position, it looks like, or 8th position, as they head up the hill here. So he's going to have to gather that Mustang back up and try to run these guys back down. So now we're back to a 4-car battle. Eddie Smith up there and Jake Ham now. As we're looking at Eddie Smith head down the hill, he's got Tyler Justice just behind him. And Samuel Egge. And they're all on the front stretch right now. And we're back looking at Jake Ham again here. So Jake Ham has got some lap traffic again. Alexander Sexhauer. Sexhauer lets Ham go by. But then cuts early into that corner. That was a close call for Eddie Smith there, as they're all getting by that car. But it looks like Tyler Justice might be the poor guy out of this one. And he's going to need an extra couple corners to get by this lap traffic of Sexhauer. And you see that McLaren trying to get by that Corvette there. And there he goes. And he's going to let him by going into this corner. Sexhauer is trying to let these guys by, maybe a little bit too, pinching them down on the inside. We got a side-by-side battle here. Eddie Smith goes by Jake Ham here. So something happened with Jake Ham. He got slowed up. Eddie Smith gets by him on a power move there. And you can see now Jake Ham's trying to put the pressure back on, because he had Samuel Egge just behind him, putting pressure on Ham. So these guys are really starting to mix it up. And if they keep it up, before you know it, Cordnell will be back in this fight. So move Eddie Smith up to that top 5 position, as we do have Tyler Justice on pit lane. So Tyler Justice, the first of this car battle to head to pit lane. So Tyler Justice says, I'm going to leave this battle up to these guys and see how this is going to shake out here. As we watch these guys go down into Andretti corner, Jake Ham now the follower of Eddie Smith, and see if he can get that McLaren, get back up to Eddie Smith. But he's also going to have a mirror full of that Samuel Egge just behind him. So we're going to go back up, take a look at our leader, Nathan Graham, who's opened it up to about a 9.5 second lead. Just killing it out there right now. Still hasn't made his pit stop, but he has got a sizable lead over Jeremy Gardner. Jeremy Gardner and Derek Tierms back there in 2nd and 3rd are still battling that out. They've kind of been this way the entire race. Like I thought, I almost feel like these guys are either equally matched or Derek Tierms is just waiting for Gardner to make a mistake or just doesn't want to wear out that Austin just yet and maybe try to get by him when the pit stops start happening. Looks like we had an incident on the track. I want to say Kevin Price. Something happened with Kevin Price. Not sure what happened there. He's slow on the track. But yeah, it looks like he's back up. We're going to go back and see what happened to Kevin Price here. Back here, he's in a little battle himself here, but I think that Porsche gets loose on him. As we watch it here, I don't see what happened here. It was really slow on the track. Yeah, might have been just something weird going on with the timing and scoring. Anyway, no harm, no foul. As we're back up here up front. Looking at Eddie Smith and Jake Ham, that battle. This battle is for the 4th position right now. As we do have pit stops underway. Mason Cordell just had an off track trying to catch up to these guys. He's in that Mustang just a little bit behind him, about 20 car lengths back. As we got Jake Ham trying to use every bit of the track and then some, trying to get that run up the hill that I talked about and just couldn't quite get there. Took that McLaren a little too far off track and just couldn't get the run. And that allows Samuel Eggy just behind him in that Mercedes to catch back up to him. And you got to be careful when you're making passes out here, especially when you're in a close group like this, because if you make a mistake trying to make your passes, Eddie Smith on the pit lane, so we're starting to see these guys pit. So Eddie Smith, the second guy of this 5-car battle, so to speak, going to make his pit stop, and that's going to leave Samuel Eggy and Jake Ham out there to duke it out. And we're not even to the halfway point of this race. Looking at Corey Patton, we haven't talked about this driver all night long. He's currently on the back door of Jamie Lipke. So Corey Patton started in the 19th position, currently running in 11th. So up 8 spots on the night in that Corvette, and just ahead of him got Jamie Lipke. She started in up front too, she's made positions up tonight as well. So both these drivers making up with a solid drive tonight. Started in the 16th position, currently running in 8th. So solid nights for these two drivers. Look at, there's a car just in front as we look at Joshua Unger in the 18th position, 17th now, as we do have pit stops underway. So, yeah, we haven't talked about this driver as well too much tonight as he's making his way around the track. See Joshua Unger in that U.S. Army. I can appreciate that, and so can my producer. In the U.S. Army Corvette, all-American car, all-American track. As you can see Joshua Unger right now, he's got Kevin Price just ahead of him, and this is for position. Kevin Price in that Porsche as they head up the hill here towards the corkscrew, or excuse me, this is turn 6, headed towards the corkscrew now. So both these guys waiting for their pit stops. As we have a lot of cars now starting to get their pit stops done. We have Alexander Sexhauer, Corey Patton on pit lane. Looks like, yeah, a lot of drivers are now making their pit stops. We're not quite to halfway, so a little bit early for some drivers. And it looks like Nathan Graham has made his pit stop as well. So Nathan Graham has also went into pit lane. That meant that Jeremy Gardner now inherits the lead. And he is under pressure with Derek Tierms just behind him. But, Nathan Graham's got such a lead, he could have just, put his hands behind his head, and just relax going into pit lane. We'll see how this shakes out when these guys make their pit stop. But one of the dangers is, and you never know what's going to happen if you pit too early and you get behind some lap traffic or some cars that might not have realized you were the leader, and all of a sudden they're looking at their relative and think that they're racing you for position. Nathan Graham currently running back there in the 6th position. So he only lost 5 positions during that pit stop. So we're looking at Nathan Graham ahead to the front stretch right now. He's got a lap car of Sammy Yosef just ahead of him, that Porsche. While we got a minute here and we have all these pit stops, why don't we talk about our Warrior Spotlight? I haven't done that yet tonight. And our latest Warrior Spotlight and our 12th I can't talk tonight. Our 12th Sim Rig recipient, John Lawless. John Lawless served in the United States Air Force for 22 years as a hydraulic maintainer. He completed 5 deployments to Korea, which I can appreciate. He spent 2 in Iraq, and then he also was in Sicily and Turkey. He worked on multiple platforms such as the U-2, the H-60, AC-130, and we are proud to have John as a member of the Goat Locker family. I can't wait to see John out here a road course racing. I think he's been participating in the ovals. We've seen him on Goat Talk Live here. I think it was last week or the week before. I think eventually we might see him out there, but I think he's been testing his feet in the oval series, and glad to have him on board. We're watching Jake Ham on the pit lane, and then that allows Samuel Egg now. Samuel Egg is still out there on track. Jeremy Gardner's still on track, so Samuel Egg will move up to that 3rd position as these guys are making their pit stops. In that unsponsored Mercedes, as he's now as he gets around that lap car of Bobby Germain, I believe that was, yeah. Of course it wasn't Bobby Germain. It was yeah. There we go. There's Bobby Germain, currently running in 22nd. A driver we haven't talked about tonight, so a car we haven't seen too much of either. So running out there in that Audi. The Audi out there has been in slim supply, along with the Mercedes and Lamborghini. I haven't seen those car makes out too often this season. So Jeremy Gardner, our current leader, is on pit lane as we move to that car as he's making his pit stop. Derek Tierms now inherits the lead. He stayed out, so he's out there in the Austin. Derek Tierms will at least lead this lap. We'll see what happens when he's going to make his pit stop. We are just now at the halfway point. I'm kind of surprised with the early pit stops. I'm wondering if it has to do with how the car is balanced out on this fixed setup. You know, one of the things when the fuel does burn off on some of these cars, being that they're all different manufacturers too, is you kind of get a different feel for the car. So sometimes the rear end will get a little light as he gets by the lap car there. I want to say that was Tyler White. Anyway, as the fuel load burns off, the handling characteristics of the car changes. So that's probably what he's dealing with right now. A lot of these cars that have made their pit stops early is they want to feel that car with a little bit heavier load to keep the rear end planted. But that isn't the case for Derek Tierms, is currently leading this. I'm curious if you're going to make. We're looking right now at Nathan Graham, who was our leader when all this cycled around. And other than Derek Tierms, I believe we just about had everybody on pit road except for Samuel Agee as well. So Derek Tierms and Samuel Agee, we're still waiting for these guys to make their pit stops. As we're still, there we go. Derek Tierms is now on pit lane. And we'll see how this shakes out. Looking at where Nathan Graham is on the track. Agee really slow there. I'm not sure what happened. Oh, he's out of fuel. Samuel Agee's out of fuel right there, coasting that in. Oh, he went a lap too far. Oh, he was having such a good night. That is going to cost him. He is going to have to limp that thing in. Oh, tough break for Samuel Agee. Oh, he has to tow it. Samuel Agee has to tow it to his pit box. Tough break. Nathan Graham now back up front after all the pit cycles have cycled around. Oh, what a tough break. I'm not sure how he let that happen. Such a good night. So he'll get back out there. I don't think it's going to hurt him too bad. I think he'll be able to stay on the lead lap. We'll have to wait and see. There's currently only 10 cars on the lead lap. We're looking at Nathan Graham. Now we're back on, Tyler Justice here in that McLaren. Tyler Justice having a solid night. Started in 12th, now up to 6th place. And really moving things along as he always seems to do this season. Tyler Justice has been really strong. He's got a couple lap cars up there in front of him, at least one. Cody Jacob just ahead of him. in that Mustang. Cody Jacob is a driver we haven't talked too much about, but obviously went a lap down a little bit earlier than he would have liked. You can see him running there in 19th in that white Mustang. But that's Tyler Justice's next obstacle he's going to need to get around to get back up to Mason Cordnell, who's gained a position since he had that spin out. So Mason Cordnell currently running in the 5th position as they go through the corkscrew here. So Mason Cordnell did make up a position through all that pit cycles, whether that was on the track or during pits. I think it was during the pit cycle. So he's going to want to run down Jake Ham, but Jake Ham's got a little bit of an advantage on him. He's about a 5 or 6 second lead over Jake Ham, or Jake Ham's got a lead over him. You see Tyler Justice back there. He's going to get around the lap car here and set his sights on Mason Cordnell. So the field is spread out. Actually, the best battle on the track is probably those two drivers, Mason Cordnell and Tyler Justice, even though they're separated by about 10 car lengths. And since we do have that little bit of a break in the action, I want to talk about another one of our primary sponsor, MK Fire Designs. So I don't know if you guys have seen it, but they make these cool, great-looking custom wooden flags. And as a matter of fact, they actually, for our race winner during the fundraiser that we had, they made a custom wood track of Las Vegas, which was very cool. So they do all kinds of neat design stuff, and it's also owned by a firefighter, a first responder, who they're very much in support of what Goat Locker Racing does. And we, as you know, for Goat Locker, we do support our first responders and our veterans. And a lot of these guys, as a matter of fact, everybody here putting this show on for you tonight is a veteran. So we really appreciate that, but we really appreciate having MK Fire Designs on for our GT3 series here on Saturday nights. It's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you, MK Fire Design, for being here with us. Back to the action here. We're looking at the 14th position, Jason Black. He is 1 lap down currently, running in 14th. Got Samuel Eggy just ahead of him. This is actually for position. So Samuel Eggy just went a lap down after just barely. So Samuel Eggy is the first car a lap down. And if you remember, just a few laps ago, Samuel Eggy ran that Mercedes out of gas. So that caused him to fall all the way back to the 13th position. As we're looking at this battle right now, Jeremy Gardner's got some traffic ahead of him here. So Jeremy Gardner dealing with some lap traffic. Jason Black, Samuel Eggy just ahead of him. So he's going to get by Jason Black here, but he needs to get by it, clear these lap cars really quick, because he's also got Derek Tierham's just behind him, who wants that position, would like to get that second place position. Because right now, with the lead that Nathan Graham's got, these guys can only hope that Nathan Graham has a problem or runs that Mustang out of gas like Samuel Eggy did, because that's going to be their only chance. So I'm sure Derek Tierham's would like to take that position away from Jeremy Gardner in hopes that something does happen to Nathan Graham and maybe collect a win here tonight. As we see Samuel Eggy airing out that Mercedes, he is a lap down, as I mentioned, airing out that Mercedes, trying to stay out ahead of Jeremy Gardner. He's going to let him by right now, which is a smart thing to do. And I'm sure he'll do the same thing for Derek Tierham. Oh, and he gets the Mercedes sideways. So, yeah, tough break, man. He's just, sometimes when in road racing, in any type of racing, if you lose your focus, there's a saying that you don't change what you're doing. If you're doing something well and you're running super fast lap times, a lot of times drivers will get in trouble because they'll slow down. Because like Nathan Graham, he's out there running out front, and so he's got a nice cushion, so he'll start changing things and slowing things up. And it's something that professional drivers will tell you never do. Go with what's working, and because if you get off your game and you try to slow down, that's when the mistakes start happening. You got to go with what's working, and I think Samuel Eggy is a perfect testament to that. Once that first mistake happened, it just leads to a snowball effect of things starting to go downhill. As we're on board right now with Derek Tierham's running down Jeremy Gardner, headed into Andretti Quarter here, the double apex, and he's out wide, so these tires are getting old. These guys didn't take tires, so you can see that's why it didn't probably quite get down on the curb. You can see these cars slip sliding around, And Jeremy Gardner had been getting pretty wide in that corner, but you can see there he kept it right on the curbing there. So I think Jeremy Gardner is probably focusing on what's in front of him and not what's behind him, and that's kind of smart. And you can tell when somebody's overdriving the car because they'll get off a little bit in the sand, and Derek Terms is probably looking for that. And it looks like Derek Terms is the one that might be overdriving that Austin Martin a little bit. And that can let Jeremy Gardner breathe a little bit of sigh, but he is no way out of the woods just yet. They head down into the infamous corkscrew. It's what makes this track so famous and so iconic. See, Derek Terms has gained a little bit on him as they go through the final complex of corners here, headed into 11. And if you remember Derek there, he had that weird braking incident with Jake Hammer earlier. Oh no, that was Mason Cordnell, excuse me. So I'm getting my drivers mixed up here. Derek Terms has been his own man out here tonight, and pretty much these guys have been nose to tail all night long. So we're back up front with our leader, our 12-second or so guy, Nathan Graham, in the Mustang. He's been knocking them down tonight. Just waiting. Everybody's just praying for a mistake. He's got some dust in front of him. He's got a lap car just ahead of him that kicked up some dust, and you know, it's one of those nerve-wracking things. Zachary Minnis up there ahead of him is about to be a victim of our race leader. And Nathan Graham just got around Jamie Limke, who's having a solid night. So Jamie, she started in 16th, was up to 11th. Zachary Minnis, being very courteous and letting the leader go by. And that's one great thing about Goat Locker racing that I love to see, is how courteous these guys are out here road racing. As we do see Zachary Minnis head to pit road. I'm not sure if this was a planned stop. I think, yeah, I think this, oh, he got black flag. So I think, yeah, so Zachary Minnis got a black flag. I think that might be too many off tracks for Zachary, and hit that incident limit. So it looks like he's got a drive through. As we're back looking at Jeremy Gardner here. Jeremy Gardner going through Andretti corner, nice and clean and solid, but Derek Terms is getting closer every lap. And that's kind of what you need to do here, is put that pressure on and force Jeremy Gardner to make a mistake. But I got to tell you, Jeremy Gardner has actually cleaned up his races so far. Oh, there's a spin out there just in front of Jeremy Gardner. So that could have been bad for both those drivers. So they head up towards turn 6 here, a very tricky corner. This, I always pucker up there. My sphincter goes a little tight through that corner, because if you mess it up, you head into that tire barrier, and going in up to the top of the hill here, down into the corkscrew. And Jeremy Gardner and Derek Terms gets through that nice and clean, which they've been doing all night in each other's tire tracks. So I got to tell you, Jeremy Gardner is looking really tight though right now in that Corvette, where Terms has got that Austin all over the place trying to get out there. He is there now as they go into turn 11. We'll see if he can get a run off the corner here. And no, that Corvette's got the offline power there. And I just seen where there was an update in iRacing, and I think they took a little bit of horsepower away from the Austin. I think that's what I read, just a little bit, and that might have been it right there. That's what you see the difference. So it looks almost like the Austin's a little bit better in most of the corners, but getting off the corner is a little tough when you got a little less horsepower. But I'll tell you what, where the Austin really pays off is in some of the high altitude tracks. With this turbochargers, Corvette being naturally aspirated and the Aston Martin being turbocharged, it can have its advantage at certain tracks. And that's what's great about this GT3 racing in these different cars. And the different tracks that we go to, that how one car can be dominant over the other depending on where we're at. Is there got the lap car, Jamie Lipke, just ahead of them. She went a lap down a couple of laps ago as Nathan Graham went by, but now our top two, or our second and third place drivers, are going to have to get around her, and they do cleanly as she lets them go. And she was willing to take an off track for it too. So as we've seen one of our drivers pay the price with having too many off tracks and having to do that drive through. There we go. Jeremy Gardner starting to wing that course, or that Corvette out there. Gets it, the rear tire into the sand a little bit. Looks like he's pushing a little harder as we are about 15 minutes away from the white flag. I'm going to take a look at Cody Jacob here and see how Cody Jacob's doing here. Currently running in 18th. Started in 17th. So Cody Jacob has got a battle here for the 17th position. Joshua Unger in that Corvette, the U.S. Army Corvette. This is actually a battle that we're finally having here. Cody Jacob got that white Mustang down on the inside. They touch door handles. Just a little friendly bout there as they go down the front stretch between the two American manufacturers there, saying, yeah, I love you too. The good old Ford Chevy rivalry. Take a look at Jake Ham here. Just behind him, Jake Ham working on Eddie Smith for that 6th position. Jake Ham and Eddie Smith, just like Tierms and Gardner, have been stuck to each other pretty much all night. They had a pretty big 5-car battle earlier in the race, and that kind of has cleaned itself up with some misfortunes from a couple other guys. But one thing, you know, those two guys are battling, but Tyler Justice actually got by them both, and I believe that was through the pit strategy. Tyler Justice is ahead of both those guys now. Tyler Justice up to 5th as we're watching him go down through the corkscrew. And showing everybody that that McLaren can run. It's got some legs. And this is kind of what I've seen out of Tyler Justice this season too, is you know, maybe not the best qualifying efforts, but really solid runs up through the field almost each and every week. Still watching this battle though with Jake Ham and Eddie Smith. Jake Ham would like this position away. Jake Ham was looking really strong at the start of this race. But if these guys get to battling too hard, they got Logan Threlkeld who's back into this picture here. We've only got 8 cars currently on the lead lap right now. That's how much Nathan Graham is dominating this field. Nice overhead view of where that Bucky's Porsche is back there. Logan Threlkeld, you can see him creeping into this picture. And they got some lap traffic of Joshua Unger that they're going to have to deal with. And it looks like Joshua lets him by. And it'll let Logan Threlkeld by. So Threlkeld, they all get by cleanly. So this battle will continue. Jake Ham now. Jake Ham battling on the inside. Eddie Smith as they head up towards turn 6 here. This is where you don't want to really be side by side. Eddie Smith wisely backs out of it. But Jake Ham too much. Oh, that is exactly what I was talking about. The pucker factor, he got overload there, right? Pulled up that seat cover right up in there. This is one of the things. Oh, there was a little bit of contact prior going into that corner there, and I think that upset the McLaren. And that got Jake Ham a little off from hitting his mark there, and hit that sausage curb and went around. Wow, tough break for Jake Ham. So that's a major setback. We've got about 13 minutes left in this race, and he's going to have a deficit to make up to get back up to Eddie Smith. But who has made it up is Derek Tierms back on the back bumper. We've got a couple of good races right now in our top 6. Derek Tierms right now in that 41, putting pressure on that Corvette of Jeremy Gardner as they head into turn 10 here. And then the last corner here, turn 11, in a very heavy braking zone. It's very easy to spin the rear tires, especially when they're old. So they got to be very careful getting on the throttle here. And this is where that Corvette of Jeremy Gardner has been really strong, getting off the corner. But Logan Threlkeld is about the same distance behind Eddie Smith. So that battle between Jake Ham and Eddie Smith too is heating up. So Threlkeld, the 2 Porsches are now about to go at it as they go down through the corkscrew here. So 2 great battles on the track here as we're getting to the closing moments of this race. So we can see that Bucky's Porsche back there trying to get the T-Rex. I don't know, it's the Beaver and the T-Rex. So another driver we haven't talked about tonight, Brian Provo. kind of not having the night I'm used to watching him have, but there is a battle here between him and Jason Black right now. Jason Black in the BMW, Brian Provo back there in that green Mustang. It looks like Brian Provo on the outside will have the advantage going into this next corner here, turn 5. And yeah, it looks like Jason Black will just let him have it. On these old tires, it does get a little squirrely through that corner as we're back on Tierms and Gardner for second and third. And these two guys have been at it all race long. And I got to imagine that Derek Tierms is absolutely sick and tired of looking at the back of that Corvette. Because I know I would be, and I would be like thinking, there's got to be something I can do. Some way I can get Jeremy Gardner off his game. Now, I was talking pre-race about Jeremy Gardner, and Jeremy Gardner, when I raced him here last season, had a few difficulties here at this track and had a few off tracks and a few spins, but he's really pulled it together tonight. So having a solid night, currently in second, but Derek Tierms, both these guys are race winners here. And we are looking at potentially our first repeat winner of the night with Nathan Graham leading this thing. Nathan Graham has also got a win on the season. So our top 4 guys in this race have all got race wins as we're looking at Nathan Graham right now, headed into turn 10. Pretty much with nearly 17-second lead, which actually isn't too bad considering I've seen worse. So these guys that are behind him are actually really fast. Nathan Graham is just out there in that Mustang. He's just been so dominant in that machine. As we're back here with the battle for second place here. Derek Tierms back there still looking at the back of that Corvette. Jeremy Gardner almost went wide there, and that's allowing Tierms a little bit closer. Can he get him in the braking zone? This is the closest I've seen Tierms on the front stretch, trying to get a little bit of toe and see if he can outbrake him on the outside. And then he'll try the undercut here, but nope. Jeremy seen that one coming and just drove his line and was able to keep it there. So Derek is going to have to try some different things and see where Jeremy is weak at. But right now, Jeremy has really cleaned his line up since the beginning of this race. So he's going to be a tough guy to get around. And speaking of tough guys to get around, we're back here on this battle with Eddie Smith and Logan Threlkeld. So this is battle for 6. These two guys have been stuck together for the last couple of laps. See Logan Threlkeld back there in the Buc-ee's Porsche with the Dinosaur Porsche just ahead of him, Eddie Smith. Eddie Smith, our third place in points driver, also the championship winner of our summer series. He's finding himself under all kinds of threat here. Logan Threlkeld is now starting to really put some pressure on here. We got less than 10 minutes to go, so pay window is open for these guys, and it's going to see who's going to be the bravest to get it through. Laguna Seca is really difficult to pass. You really have to depend on your opponent of making a mistake. And these guys are in 2 equal cars. Obviously, they're both in the Porsche. So that makes passing even more tough. I think what you're looking at with the battle between Jeremy Gardner and Derek Tierms, they're in 2 different cars, so 2 different strengths and weaknesses, but these guys are in identical cars, so it's a battle of will right here as they head up towards the corkscrew here. We'll see if Logan has anything for Eddie as they go down the hill, and it doesn't look like it. This gap just maintains. And they will have some lap traffic coming up here, but the lap traffic has been mighty kind to these fellas. We've got Cody Jacob just ahead of them and the Mustang who we talked about earlier. Oh, Tyler White and Cody Jacob there. And Alexander Sexauer. As they go into Andretti corner, they're battling it out again. And yeah, it looks like he'll win that one with that white Mustang. As we're looking back at our second place battle here, again, this hasn't changed. The Austin looking for a way around this Corvette. And this has not been the Aston Martin's strong point here. It does look like the Austin is stronger in the brake zone, but the Corvette is stronger on exit. And that's just the tale of 2 different cars. And I think that that Austin is going to have a really difficult time as we're looking at Jake Ham. I don't know, he made another pit stop there. I wonder if that was for a penalty black flag, but That is definitely off sequence for Jake Ham, or maybe he had to get that damage fixed. Yeah, so it looks like it looks like he had some too many incident points and had to do a drive-through. So you see Jake Ham there, now a lap down. We're back here looking at Logan Threlkeld. These guys battling it out still is Eddie Smith and Logan Threlkeld as they get by the lap car here. Going into the front stretch, will Logan Threlkeld be able to get a run? It doesn't look like it. That was Tyler White that they just got around in that Corvette. Alexander Sexhauer. Wow, my timing is way off tonight. We got Logan Threlkeld, took a look on the inside there, going through that double apex. So these guys have got about 3 seconds before they're coming up on Cody Jacob, the next car to go a lap down for them anyway. That could play a factor into this. But Cody Jacob has been really kind and considerate, so I don't expect him to interfere with this battle. We got about 5 minutes to go, a little over 5 minutes to go. And you can see this position here, Tyrrell and Gardner. Mason Cornell has been out there running by himself since that incident and after pits. He really hasn't had anybody to race with. Trying to catch back up to the guys that are running for this second place. It just isn't happening for him right now. So we're looking at Jeremy Gardner here, still under threat by Derek Tyrrell, though. I just don't know that Austin really has what it takes here at Laguna. I just think the Corvette is just a hair bit better, so I think if I was Derek Tyrrell, I'd be pretty happy with the third place. I'm just got to put the pressure on to see if I can get Gardner off his game there, as Jeremy Gardner gets a little wide there, gets a tire off in the dirt. As they go down through the corkscrew here, Jeremy Gardner got Matt Lass just ahead of him, one of the lap cars. Matt Lass running in the Mercedes just ahead of him. Haven't talked about Matt Lass in a while, but kind of not having the night he was hoping to have, currently running in the 19th position, but he's got these two guys running for second, coming up on him quickly as they head down into Andretti corner. And it looks like he's going to be in there when these guys get into the corner. So, oh, he goes really wide, so that was good. Kind of worried there for a second that might have changed things up, but he gets out of the way, lets these two guys battle it out for this second place. Because nobody's got anything for Nathan Graham. Nathan Graham has been putting on a show in that black and gold Mustang, as we're looking at him right now, go up the hill and towards the corkscrew. And he has got quite a time lead, a 20-second time lead on our second place driver of Jeremy Gardner. As we're looking at that beautiful Mustang get through this track. GTD Mustang going into the final corner, final turn 11 here, keeping it nice and solid. Just doing a wonderful job here tonight. And Nathan Graham, like I mentioned, was our first time winner last week at Daytona. So we had our 2-hour race at Daytona. Nathan Graham won that last week. Oh, we got a battle here for second. Looking at Derek Tyrrell, but just hasn't been able to do nothing out of turn 11 there. Anyway, as I was saying about Nathan Graham, got his first win last week at Daytona. It was our first 2-hour race of the season. And pretty much dominated that race. Didn't lead all the laps, but he's pretty dominant there, and he's dominant here tonight here at Laguna Seca. So Eddie Smith, going back to that battle, Eddie Smith and Logan Threlkeld. So Eddie Smith, they got Jason Black and Cody Jacob just ahead of them that they're going to have to contend with. But Eddie Smith was able to open up a little bit of a gap there on Logan Threlkeld, just a few tenths. You can see Logan Threlkeld just back there, and it looks like the lap traffic is going to let Eddie by. So Jason Black lets Eddie by, and that'll be the first lap car. And then he's got the other car there. There we go, Cody Jacob. It's going to let him by as well, I imagine. That's what Cody's been doing, but did allow Logan Threlkeld to catch up just a little. But he isn't quite there, so Logan has fallen off this battle just a little bit. Oh, back up with Jeremy Gardner, though. There was almost an incident there. That was Joshua Unger just in front of him had an off track in that Army Corvette. It could have been ugly. Jeremy Gardner, I believe, had to check up, so that allowed Derek Durham to get right back up there. But as I've said many times, almost every turn this race except for one, that Austin Martin just can't get off that last corner to get up to Gardner. And that's really where that Austin Martin is suffering, because you can see him close up in the braking zones, but just can't do anything on exit with that car. One of the great things about GT3 racing is these cars are pretty much 70% stock of what you could buy at the dealership. And the differences between them, and to get the balance of power just right, where they all have their differences and their different driving styles and what the drivers prefer, is just so cool. Oh, Nathan Graham now, as we're looking at him, Nathan Graham, our leader, currently having to deal with the lap car. It's Alexander Sexhauer just in front of him in that Corvette. And Sexhauer will let him by cleanly. So, but it was a bad time to run into lap traffic going into the corkscrew there. It could have been ugly for Nathan Graham. But Nathan Graham has a sizable lead, so he didn't have to really push the issue. So this should be our white flag lap. Coming up right now, Nathan Graham has taken the white flag as we're still looking at this battle headed back into turn 11 for these two guys. And that Austin, I just already know is just not going to have the power getting off the corner. I know it's not there, so he's going to have to do it somewhere on corner entry here. He's really going to have to force the issue. He wants this position. He's only got one lap to get this done as they go into Andretti corner. They do have some lap traffic here that might play a role, but so far it hasn't happened. He's got Kevin Price just ahead of him in that Porsche. Kevin Price is a lap down. So Gardner just needs to keep it clean and get around Kevin Price as cleanly as possible without giving up too much speed. And this is the battle for second. But right now we're back with our leader, Nathan Graham, who's pretty much led every lap except during the pit cycle. I think he led maybe 90% of the laps as he comes down through the corkscrew. Last week's winner, second in points. This might bring him up front. I don't know. Jeremy Gardner has been so strong. We'll have to wait and see, but he hits that sausage curb, throws him off. Wow, what a time to throw a mistake. Right here when the camera's on, the last lap of the race, coming to the white or the checkered flag, and it looks like Nathan Graham, he's weaving that car around with broken suspension, and he'll take the win tonight. So solid run, Nathan Graham. I don't know, it must have been because we put the camera on him there. He's going to throw this race away for a minute. Oh, that was ugly. But a nice win for Nathan Graham. Backcutter battle for second. It looks like Gardner's going to clean this one away with second, and then Derek Durham's just behind him will finish third. The battle for fourth here is going on right here. Mason Cardinale, it looks like he'll finish in fourth. Mason Cardinale is still coming down the hill here. We're just keeping the graphic here on our race winner. I'm just letting everybody know what our top five is. Seeing what that battle with Eddie Smith and Logan Threlkeld, they're coming out of the corkscrew right now, and they're still nose to tail. I don't think Threlkeld's going to get there, but congrats to Nathan Graham. What a win. What a solid night. You can't do anything better than that right there. As we're getting our last set of cars across the line here, Eddie Smith will cross the line here in 6th. Logan Threlkeld had a little incident trying to get around him. We'll finish in 7th, and that's all our lead lap cars. So tell you what we're going to do. We're going to throw this thing to our commercial break, and we'll come back and we'll talk to our top 3.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
Superior quality, ultimate protection, and the highest level of craftsmanship. We make our gloves for the hard worker that wakes up every morning and gives 110%. You deserve the highest quality protective gear that's going to work for you day in, day out. We know it can be tough deciding what companies to trust for your hard-earned money. It's all in our name. We've mastered our craft to help you master yours. We make our gloves rugged, durable, and designed for you. Whatever the job is, we have you covered. We are your glove station.
And we're back live at Laguna Seca. What an exciting race. We broke the streak tonight. Here's our unofficial results. Nathan Graham gets his second win of the season here at Laguna. Jeremy Gardner, a tough battle fought with Derek Terhams, will finish second and third, respectively. Mason Cardinal had that incident early in the race, will finish fourth. Tyler Justice, strong run up from the 12th position, will finish fifth. Eddie Smith and Logan Threlkeld will finish sixth and seventh, respectively. Jake Ham having a tough break there with that incident with Eddie Smith and will finish in eighth, the first car a lap down. Samuel Yosef finishes in ninth. Jamie Lipke will finish in the 10th position. Samuel Egge finishes in 11th, with Brian Provo finishing in 12th. Corey Patton will finish in 13th, with Cody Jacob finishing in 14th. Jason Black picks up the 15th position, while Kevin Price finishes in 16th. Joshua Unger finishes in 17th. Matt Lass in 18th. Alexander Sexhauer will finish in 19th, with Zachary Menace in the 20th position. Brock Price will finish 21st, with Wesley Burke in 22nd, respectively. Bobby Germain finishes in 23rd, and Tyler White 24th. Tyler Brown will finish in 25th. Tyler Rice will finish in 26th. And Brian Frauhager had a tough night, finishing in 27th. And that was our unofficial results. What a great race. Well, I'll tell you what, I want to bring our race winner up here. Nathan Graham, Ken Huber in the booth. You got a copy?
Good copy.
Two in a row.
Yeah.
How's that Mustang treating you?
I like it. It's fun to drive.
So tell me, before you got into this race, what your approach was to it. Because I know that nobody really knew what the weather was going to be, but then we kind of ended up having kind of just a nice sunny day. What was your approach coming into this race?
Yeah, I'm thankful that it was not wet because I did one practice session earlier in the week and it was dry, and so I would have had to figure it out on the spot on the fly. But yeah, my approach was really just to go out there and have clean laps because this track can definitely get loose at times, and the rear can go. So I just wanted to make sure I did clean laps and see where it took me.
Well, speaking of clean laps, Sarah, so we had the camera on you after you were right before you were coming to the finish line. And it looked like you were having a clean day all night, and then all of a sudden you decided to get on one of those sausage curbs. And I was wondering if your night was going to be over there right in the last couple of corners there at the finish line.
Yeah, my dog was like messing with me. I got distracted.
You made it exciting for the broadcast, that's for sure. And what a dominant performance. And next week we're going to be at Mid-Ohio. And I think Mid-Ohio it's kind of got some similarities to this track. And how do you feel about going there?
I actually can't remember if I've ever done it. So I'll have to go do some laps and see what it's like.
Well, that'll be
I
good
can't
news for
remember,
some of the competition out there.
yeah.
I'll say, Nathan, just show up the night before and practice, or the night of.
Yeah,
Just use
yeah.
that 40. Just use that 45 minutes. Well, anyway, congrats on that first place finish. And I'll be excited to see what you can do if you have never driven Mid-Ohio. It's kind of a fun track, but it can be difficult and hard to pass. So kind of be excited to watch you handle that track next week. But who do you have to thank for getting you this win tonight?
Awesome. Yeah, would like to thank Lincoln Tech, MK Fire Design, and Zach Graphics, Save 22, the Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, VSPEED. Thanks for the awesome job you guys do broadcasting. It makes it a lot of fun going back and watching it. And then obviously Goat Locker Racing for putting on the leagues and all they do for the veterans. Pretty awesome organization. And then lastly, my team, Part-Time Pros. Glad to get another victory for us.
All right. Well, thank you, Nathan, and congrats again. We'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right, that was Nathan Graham. Well, let's talk to our second place finisher, Jeremy Gardner. Jeremy Gardner, you got a copy?
Gotcha.
Hey, a nice job on that second place finish. It's kind of been your thing this season. You got one race win on the season, but looks like you were really struggling trying to keep up to Nathan. I don't even know if you had anything for him, but you put on a heck of a battle tonight. At least you and Derek had a show going on.
Yeah, that was fun. We had nothing for Nathan. I mean, we're sitting there watching the lap times, and we were like, yeah, there's no way to compete. So I figured I'd just have fun with was it Derek? Yeah, Derek. Dude, I don't know. Me and him we both said over the race con, we're like, dude, I'm breaking a sweat right now. Like we're just sitting there running nose to tail. Dude, that was fun. Yeah, I kept I don't know. He would beat me in some sections. I'd beat him in some. I was just trying to be conservative, really, in 3 and 4 because that's been my enemy at Laguna for I don't know how many years. So it's always been me. But I survived.
I don't know.
Tonight.
I don't know if you heard me talking about it during the broadcast, but I did mention that you have struggled at this track in a couple of corners and watched you spin out. You've always been fast here, but a couple of corners sometimes will reach out and bite you, but you held it together tonight.
Yeah, for sure. I'm like I said, I was trying to be a little conservative tonight. I was just trying to keep the car on the track. So thankfully we did.
Well, you're first place in points, so you're doing what you need to do to keep that point lead. But you're going to have to do something with Nathan eventually because he's creeping into that picture.
Yeah, actually, that's the first thing I looked at as soon as the race was over. I figured he was going to take the points lead. It's going to be a tough one coming up. So that dude's fast. I don't know.
Now, I was just talking to him during the interview. We're going to Mid-Ohio next week, and he says he's never driven there before. So what do you have for Mid-Ohio next week?
I've ran it, but not with the GT3s. I've ran it with like trucks and stuff, but I've never ran it with this car. So, I mean, I've honestly on other like games I've played with it, Mid-Ohio is actually a pretty good track for me. So we'll see how that pans out.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you there next week. Who do you have to thank to get you the second place finish tonight?
Jam Printing and Promotions, Jamie and Pat at GOR, my guys at Premier Racing Setups. Of course, y'all guys for putting the broadcast on. Alexander PCs, MK Fire Design for putting on the series. Appreciate them guys. Zach Graphics, and yeah, let's go to Mid Ohio next week and see what we can do.
All right, Jeremy. Well, I'll look forward to it. We'll talk to you later.
Yes, sir.
All right, that was Jeremy Gardner. Let's bring in our third place finisher, Derek Tierhams. Hey, congrats on that third place finish. How did that Austin treat you tonight? You got a copy?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep, I got you. Yep. Yeah, good. Yeah, it was a tough one. Jeremy was really keeping me at bay. Yeah, I was just really looking for him to make a mistake, but he didn't. So, yeah, I tried with the pit strategy, pitting the lap later than everybody else. That worked, but I lost it. And then yeah, just could not find a way to pass Jeremy. But overall, super good race. Yeah.
What's really cool about these GT3 cars is how they all drive different. But you were battling a Corvette. One thing I was noticing between you and Jeremy is that you were stronger going into the corner, but he could get off the corner so much better. And I felt like that's where that difference was in the cars. Is that what you were seeing too?
Yeah, absolutely. In the in the waiting room, I was telling Jeremy how strong that Corvette was out of the exits, and I mean, yeah, and it was super slippery down the straights as well. So yeah, I had nothing. I was pushing like crazy. Yeah, I'm sweating trying to get up to him. So hats off to him for dealing with all that under pressure.
Well, it was fun watching you guys. Me and the producer were sitting there waiting for the battle to really develop. But I did feel that you couldn't really get the power down on there, so you were going to have to make a brave move. But you kept it really clean between you two guys. So, but next week we are going to be at Mid-Ohio, probably a bit different track, but kind of similar in some ways. being that it's small and hard to pass. What do you have for Mid-Ohio?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'd love to do, I try to do as many races as I can with the league, but work takes me away 2 weeks out of each month. So
What a pesky
unfortunately,
thing.
yeah, yeah, such a shame. So unfortunately, I'll miss that one, but I'm gonna try to, I'm gonna really try to do all the ones that I can while I'm home. So, but yeah, good luck to everybody participating in that next week.
So who do you have to thank to get you into that third position tonight?
Um, I gotta thank my buddy Cody Jacob. He was actually he was racing here tonight, and we were in comms together, and he was encouraging me. So yeah, shout out to him.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to us, and we'll look forward to racing with you again here on VSPEED. Until we see you again, I'm sure you're going to put on a heck of a battle for these guys.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys.
All right. Later.
Bye bye.
All right, Derek Tierams, our third place finisher, and that's going to wrap up our podium for tonight here at Laguna Seca. Like I'd mentioned before, we're going to be at Mid-Ohio next week. I'm actually kind of looking forward to that one more than Laguna. I really enjoy Mid-Ohio, but Mid-Ohio's got some interesting challenges that these guys are going to face next week, so it'll be fun to watch for sure right here on VSPEED. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're out here at Goat Locker putting this on for everyone and all the drivers and all the fans alike, and that includes our first responders and our veterans. I want to thank our primary sponsors for tonight's race, MK Fire Design, custom wooden flags, and been a great sponsor. Also, Zach Graphics. We can put your design on almost anything. And then, of course, Save 22, fighting first responder and veteran suicide. On behalf of myself, Tim Jones, and cameras being provided by Dougie Beard, which have been great. I want to thank you, and until next week, have a great weekend.